Okay, we're going to call the December meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Roll call. Let it be noted that Member Solner is absent. He called in. Let me know that. So we have all the other members and, Rogal, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2 members absent, but we do have a quorum and we can conduct business. So, on to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes for the November 8th regular meeting. Any questions, concerns? Okay, all right, that's right, because it's a consent agenda. Item 2, A and B consent agenda for the minutes and recommend approval of the bills. And I don't believe we have any transfers. No transfers? Questions? Oh, motion? Motion by Vice Chair. Second? Member Erickson. Any questions or comments? Discussion? Hearing none. Motion to approve. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, consent agenda is done. Are there any members by the public or employees?
Mr. Chairman, we've had no requests by members of the public or employees to speak.
Thank you. Okay, on departmental matters, Kathy Michaels here, County Clerk. So we'll bring up item 4A1A, request approval of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Bloomington Board of Education, Board of Election Commissioners, and the County of McLean for use of Unit 1474 Eastland Mall for early voting for the primary election March 19th, 2024, and the general election November 5th, 2024, as a voting center. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor? Motion by Mendoza, member. Second, Member Erickson. Okay, Kathy, Ms. Michaels.
I don't have anything to add unless you have questions. It's the agreement between both of our commissions that we very successfully attended in the last big election, so to speak. So we're happy to have that space again for the voters as a vote center, which means anybody in the county can vote there. Registered to vote or not registered to vote, they can register and vote there too on election day.
Okay. Any comments? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And you have our other reports too, and so if anyone has any other questions, let me know. Things are going swimmingly for the elections. We had our lottery drawing for ballot position today, and that went fine, and so we're ready to get ready to start proofing ballots, which is quite a job, so looking forward to that.
Good luck. Okay, on to item 4B, Tim Jorzak. We have one action item. That's request 4B1A, request approval of an ordinance by the McLean County Board amending Chapter 205 fees of the McLean County Code, affordable housing, pages 27 through 29. Is there a motion to bring it to the floor? Vice Chair Lehman, second. Mendoza, second. Member? Okay. Tim, floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So what you have before you here is an ordinance that will allow my office to collect an application fee for the low-income housing programs established by the General Assembly under, what's the Public Act number? Under the affordable ILCS 15-178. It was an affordable housing incentive program that they passed a year or two ago that incentivizes construction and or rehabilitation of affordable housing units. The statute was intended to incentivize investment in both putting new capacity online of affordable housing, but then also potentially converting existing home stock, existing apartment stock into affordable housing. If you look at the statute, it is a very thick statute. It's a lot of words. There are a lot of requirements in that statute that are required by our office to verify. So in order to, depending on the program they're applying for, we have to verify building permits, construction costs to make sure they meet this threshold that the legislature set in order to qualify for this program. So we have to document that they meet one of 12 or several of 12 different categories of improvements to the properties. We have to verify the incomes of all of their low-income housing residents. It's a fairly labor-intensive project, and we're up to do it. We have no problem doing it, but the statute does allow us to collect a fee with the statute lists as a reasonable fee to offset the cost of administration. And so that's what this fee is. It's designed to mirror the statute. It basically says that we are allowed to collect a fee to, quote, offset any administrative cost with implementing the program. The cost that we chose was $750 for an application fee. This is an amount that was discussed by our statewide association of chief county assessment officers. There's nothing enumerated in statute as to what that fee should be. It just says reasonable cost to administer the program. So we discussed it, and we kind of established a range of between $500 and $750 as an application fee, designed to reflect the basic premises. What would it cost us if we didn't have somebody on staff? What would it cost us to hire an outside vendor to come in and do the verification work on this? And so we kind of priced it out. What would a vendor charge for, we figured, a day's worth of work in verifying the construction costs and the incomes and everything like that. We took a very basic $100 an hour consulting fee, 7.5 hours worth of work. So that's how we arrived at that number range. Let's see, Champaign County has a $750 fee. Lake County's is $500, Cook County's is $600. And those are of counties that I know that have implemented the program and adopted a fee structure. So that's kind of how we arrived at the number we have. It's not a slush fund of any kind. We put in there that it can only be used for reasonable cost to offset the program. So if we do end up having to hire somebody to do this verification work, that's what the funds can be used for. We can't just, spend it on what we want. So that's what that's all about, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have on it.
What would be the range for this application fee from high to low?
What do you mean?
When you surveyed the other counties?
Like I said, I know of one county, not a lot of counties have gotten applications for these things yet. We're anticipating that there might be a couple in the window that the program exists. But of the counties that I know that have gotten applications and administered a fee, that range is between $500 and $750. There is one county that didn't charge a fee at all. That's Kankakee County. But I asked him what his fee was. He goes, I didn't know we could charge a fee. So that's kind of how we arrived at that. But those are of the counties that I know that have enacted the program and adopted the fee.
Any other questions? Vice Chair Lehman?
So knowing that we're in a county that definitely has a housing shortage, specifically, affordable housing shortage, if this fee were enacted with $750 per the application process, is it something that we would be able to, if that were seen as perhaps limiting development or a concern like that, is it something that we can revisit? What would that process look like? How
I mean,
would we-
I'm sure we can revisit it. What I will say is that for the programs that this targets, there are two specific programs. And if they qualify, the lowest program offers a 25% EAV reduction, which we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in EAV in most cases, that will easily, that reduction will offset and then some the cost of the fee. The more generous program is 35% of an EAV reduction over the course of 10 years, renewable for another 10 years after that. So it's a pretty substantial benefit that they're getting. So when you look at it that way, it will be offset by the benefit.
Keep going.
Thank you for the background on that. Good to know that it's completely going to be offset in the long term. Is this available for, is it just for multi-unit family housing? So not available for single-unit family housing, just?
Yes,
Okay.
this statute is very specific on who can benefit from it. It has to be buildings of more than 6 units. So if you have, a 5-unit building, that's not going to qualify. A scattered site project where you have a single-family home, single-family home, single-family home, those aren't going to qualify. It's very much designed for, what's the term I'm looking for? Congregate housing, I guess is the term I'm looking for. But yeah, it's designed for multi-tenant housing.
How is it that you'll get this information out to the general public? You thought about just knowing that if it goes through, that this program is available?
Well, I know that the IHDA, the Illinois Housing Development Authority, is making a push right now to let folks know who are in this industry that, hey, this program exists. The thing about this program too is it's time constrained. So I think it's a 5-year window when property owners, when developers can implement this program. After 2027, I believe, the program closes. And then it's just everybody who was approved prior to that date stays in for the next 10 to 20 years. Other than that, the program sunsets. I don't know if they're going to, see how it goes and decide to re-up it or not, but that's kind of where we are with it right now. But IHDA is putting a push together. Cook County, there's a lot of traction up there for this. They have their own housing challenges that they're navigating up there. So there is an effort underway to let folks know about this, and a lot of the developers do know about it. I don't know what their plans are on applying for, but they are aware of it.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and ask for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion is passed. Anything else, Mr. Jorzak?
You guys have my report there. City of Bloomington closed, their appeal window shut. So we don't have any more complaints coming in at this point. Now it's just a matter of going through and getting the complaints that we have, getting worked through. We did get a little bit of a crunch at the end from the City of Bloomington, various reasons, as you would expect by the increases that we put on. The biggest challenge we are facing right now is that one of our board members, Gina Metternach, she'd served on the board over 10 years. She did have to step down, and so we do have a vacancy on the board right now. We conducted an exam today. We didn't have anybody, unfortunately, from McLean County who ended up being able to pass the exam at this point in time. So the board has assured me they can soldier on with what they have right now with the 2 board members, and they can get through. Like Merle Haggard said, if we make it through December, everything will be fine. And I think that's where we are with it right now. Hopefully after December, we'll conduct the exam again. We'll have a little bit more time to get somebody studied up to take the statewide exam to serve on the board. But that's where we are with it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, item 4C, Becky McNeil, Treasurer's Report. Ask for a motion on the floor for item 4C1A. Request approval of a resolution organizing the county board chair to surrender mobile home tax sales certificate. Is there a motion by committee? Motion by member Mendoza, second. Member Erickson. Okay. Becky McNeil.
Thank you. This is another one of our parcels in the trustee program. This parcel went through the tax sale process. The trustee went all the way to the point of being able to acquire title. And the property owner came forward and fulfilled an agreement to pay the outstanding taxes. So we are asking to surrender the tax sale certificate in exchange for those funds so that the property owner can keep their property.
Any other questions? Committee? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Continue.
The second item is a resolution authorizing the county board chair to disperse funds on a defaulted surrender. Same situation, however, the property owner that entered into a payment agreement did not fulfill the terms of that payment agreement. Of the $6,283 that was due, the property owner had only paid $2,679. And after repeated attempts to contact the property owner about their defaulted payment agreement, the trustee's ready to move forward. And now, if this individual comes forward at a later date, it's possible that the trustee's office will entertain an idea to go back and allow them to go ahead and complete the terms of the agreement, but at this point in time, they have not been able to reach them. So what happens then with these funds go into the program, a portion of them go to the agent, and the other portion goes to the county to fulfill some of the outstanding fees and costs that are due on this parcel. Any questions?
Questions? Okay. Ask for a motion to approve. Item 4C, 2, or B. Motion, all those signify by saying aye. Oh. Who made, I made a mistake. I combined A and B, correct? No?
So we need to restate C1B and then get a motion.
Request approval of resolution authorizing the county board to disperse funds on a default sender. Is there a motion? Motion by Erickson. Is there a second? Second by Member Mendoza. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, sorry. Item 4C, 1C. Accept and place on file the county treasurer's monthly financial report. Is there a motion to bring it to the floor? Motion by Vice Chair Lehman, second. Member Erickson. Okay, monthly financial.
Okay, so the first report you have is a summary of tax revenue for the county. The month of November, we have received $1,087,000. This compared to November of 2022, $1,003,000. So for the month, we're $84,000 ahead. Looking at year-to-date, $16,686,000 compared to $16,489,000. That's a $196,000 difference. It's kind of hard to really look at that though, because we've got December, and then we've got 3 months going into January that we're going to be accruing. So as far as part of our year-end work, but still we're running ahead. Overall though, looking at the budget comparison, we have a budget of $13,349,000. And the actual year-to-date vouchers are $16,686,000. So we are currently ahead of budget by $3.3 million. The shared sales tax revenue from the city of Bloomington, town of Normal, you can see those totals down there. For the month of November, we received a combined total of $442,000. Compared to November of 2022, $426,000. So we're up by 3.7 for the month. Overall, year-to-date, we have 4.7 million compared to 4.4 million last year, so we're up by 5.5%. 245,000 ahead of 2022. The fund equity in that fund is 17,153,000. Property tax revenue during the month of November, we held the property tax sale and the final distribution of property tax revenue to all the taxing districts. McLean County budgeted 40,644,000. The year-to-date distributions are 40,516,000. For those that are new to this committee, we never receive 100% of our levy. Our levy is always adjusted for various different things that happen throughout the tax year. For example, taxpayers that come forward and apply for exemptions that they're still entitled to after extension, the tax abatement agreements that the different taxing districts, including McLean County, entered into. Those are all different things that happen that reduce our overall distribution to McLean County government. So next month, I will provide you with a summary of those tax abatement agreements. The next category is the motor fuel tax. County motor fuel, regular and renewal, 3,264,000 year-to-date, compared to 2,720,000 year-to-date last year. So that's up quite a bit. Any questions there? The
See, we
next,
have one.
I'm
we have one.
sorry, go ahead.
Just a curiosity, with the motor fuel tax being up so much, what would that be potentially attributed to? Any ideas, or is this the
No,
right
you
forum
know
to ask
what?
that?
I said that wrong, I apologize. I've been going back and forth between fiscal years, but no, the second one was township motor fuel. I'm so sorry.
Got it.
I apologize. No, we have county motor fuel, that's the first one, 3,264,000. And then we have township motor fuel off to the right, which is 2,720,000. I'll actually give you a comparison on that one year to date, sorry. Sorry about that, I
You're good.
apologize. Any other questions on that report? The next report is the investment report, and during November and December, especially here during the first week of December, we've been locking in on a lot of treasuries and CDs. We are starting to see those rates kind of move down. They're dipping a little bit. So we were over 5% in November. Now we're around 4.75. So it's just by 0.25% of a rate reduction there. It's not across the board. It's just something we're seeing, and I think it's just that the banks don't need money, so we'll see how that goes. Obviously, the Fed hasn't indicated that they're going to be doing anything. So, but we did have on the Illinois Funds Money Market, which is the money market that has the largest amount of funds invested in it, has a rate of 5.53%. So we are in a position right now where we haven't seen rates like this in many, many, many years. So anyway, any questions on this report? Overall, total cash and investments, 123.7 million. Then the next report is our Blue Cross Blue Shield self-insurance plan. Our summary for the month of November, we had expenses of 610,000 compared to 569,000 in November of 2022. The overall year-to-date right now, we are still slightly under 2022, although we did have a one-time credit, but still we are at 6,048,342. We talk about that stop loss adjustment in category 8. If you look at the adjustment, you can see as we're getting into the latter months of the year. Those adjustments are getting a little bit higher. Overall, 610,000. By having the stop loss in place, we have been able to save 610,000. So. And then the final report is the summary on the nursing home. If you look at the month of October, their revenue, it is one of the higher months in 2023, there for their monthly revenue. The month-to-date revenue is 1,212,000. I'm sorry, that's just the monthly, October monthly revenue. Total revenue, 1,212,781, and expenses were 780,079. That's revenue and transfers. During the month of October, there was a transfer in to the nursing home for some of their IMRF and FICA that they're allowed to recoup from the IMRF and FICA funds. Year to date, the revenue totals $9,460,000. The expenses are $9,304,000. Of course, this is only as of October 31st, what's accrued. This could change, obviously. Some of the expenses that we are going to be accruing in December are not the final expenses, as you know. We're going to continue to accrue expenses back to 2023 throughout January and February as the final bills come in. But the nursing home did have a good month during the month of October. The receivable balance as of the end of October ended at $4.3 million. Cash and investments at the end of October. This is where they really did recover a couple $100,000 during the month of October. At the end of October, we had a negative balance of $877,000. And I mean, if you look back to September, the negative was $1,149,000. So the nursing home, not only did they have the increase in revenue, but they did have more payments on accounts from payers that they were able to recover, and just payers that were late. Fund equity ends as of the end of October at $1,510,520, with the reserve of $2,834,748 for bad debt.
Okay, hearing no further questions, I'll entertain a motion to file the county treasurer's monthly financial report, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. We have Marcelle Thompson here. I see she has no action items, but does have a report, pages 36 through 42. Any questions for her? Seeing none, good luck with the winter, and hope all the animals stay warm and safe.
Oh, they'll do a wonderful job, I'm sure. Just want to let everyone know we're getting ready to start our end of the year rabies tag distribution process. So all the veterinarians in the community will be receiving all the supplies and next year's tags and all the hard work the staff has been doing to accumulate that and put that together. So that'll be getting out soon. All the animals are doing well. Happy to report the repairs are coming close to an end at the shelter of the old facility. We still have some major things that we're working on, but we should be able to get back to a normal function here at the first of the year. So we're really excited about that. So I want to appreciate everyone. Thank you, and appreciate your help for helping us get that done.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, item 4E, Michelle Anderson, auditor's report. She's not here and has nothing for action or information, so we'll move on down to County Administrator Cassie Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too have no items to present for this committee tonight.
Okay, thank you. Item 5, other business and communication. I met with administration a little before the meeting, and he was going to go over something to think about, and that's our Roberts Rule and how we conduct business. And I'm just going to hand it over to State's Attorney and let him present.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Ms. Taylor and I had been working with new members on orientation about a month ago, we realized that the board and its committees, our practices have departed a bit from Robert's rules in some respects. So we figured that we would just present a few of the different highlights of Robert's rules for the committee. As a reminder, of course, the committee is ultimately in charge of its own operations and is going to decide how they operate. This is just kind of tips for you to do with as you please. I handed out a sheet to all the members, and you may have seen this at previous committee meetings. But the first section there are the steps to bring a motion before a committee or the board. Fairly basic, and there aren't too many problems in this regard. I just wanted to make sure that after a motion is made, that if the chair might state the motion at the outset, like when reading off the agenda, the content of the motion. So either the chair or the member needs to do that at the outset. Once a debate has occurred and the committee is going to vote on the motion, the chair should put the question to the body. So restate the question before a vote occurs. So the substance of what's going to be voted on is going to be read twice. Once when the motion is made and once just before the vote. And then after the vote occurs, the chair should be sure to announce the results of the vote. And that doesn't have to be a tally necessarily, just announce that the vote passed or failed, essentially. The next section is getting into a titled Pattern of Formality. And that's just kind of about the etiquette and decorum of how the committee addresses the chairman and how committee members reference each other. So when members are referencing the chair, we're generally going to not use names. We want to keep things as impersonal as possible, to keep things polite and civil, even when more contentious topics are being discussed. So always Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman, depending on the situation. Members should only address the chair, not other members. So any comments should be directed towards the chairman rather than making a comment directly to another member or even guests, I guess. Really, the chair should be the subject of comments. That also includes not mentioning another member's name, so that in there I gave an example of some ways that you might avoid that if you do want to reference another member. Things like, Mr. Chairman, I hope that the gentleman who last spoke will think of probable consequences. And again, that's just about trying to be impersonal and have a professional kind of presentation. Another point is a member shouldn't speak without having first obtained the floor, especially when we were in room 404, kind of in a smaller atmosphere. I think there was more informality and people would just kind of interject with helpful information. But under Robert's rules, we should all make sure that we have the floor before interjecting anything at all. And then the chair is generally going to refer to himself or herself in the third person. So rather than, I will adjourn the meeting, the chair will adjourn the meeting, that sort of thing. So if you have any questions about any of this, please let me know, or, yep, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to add also, it's not on your sheet, but it is as a general reminder that fits into the same theme. Please remember, if you have questions on agenda items or other basic information that you would like, please contact administration or the department head directly prior to the meeting. That will allow the department head to gather information and more fully answer your questions. If you call administration, we might have other information that a department head is maybe not privy to. And so we can also assist so that you have an answer that fully and correctly answers any questions you might have.
Okay. The SACO rule? Okay. Any other new business or communication? Member Erickson, you were recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Wanted to make sure I said that right. Can I get a copy of this provided with my county board packet too, just so I have it there too? Just asking. When I get it next week?
Sure, yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I'm just asking. I mean, can someone make sure they send me another copy of this? I mean, because I probably will lose this because I lose things. I mean, you know, I'm a human being.
Okay. Anybody else? Did you have a question?
No question. I was just going to answer that. Since I hadn't been called on by the chair, I wasn't answering, but we will absolutely make available to anyone who wants it another copy of this for the full board. Thank you.
Thank you, Administration Taylor. And thank the committee and for your patience and grace on me following the rules of order. And I will recognize Vice Chair Lehman. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just a question when we're considering Robert's Rules of Order, whether for this venue or perhaps any other in the future, what would be the most appropriate way in a gender neutral way to be able to recognize someone who is in the chair position? I think previously we have said, chair just loosely. Like in moments when I had been a chair of a committee, I had preferred to be referred to as Chair Lehman, as opposed to having a gender tag associated. So just want to know what is the most appropriate way to consider that or to hold those type of designations.
That, Mr. Chairman, that is a good question, and I don't believe that the most recent edition of Robert's Rules provides a gender-neutral version. I will research that and get back to the committee if there is a different version, but I think that those are the limited options that have been provided. Is really what I provided in this handout. This was a direct lift from Robert's Rules. I'm sorry if that's an unsatisfying answer.
It's okay. If I might, I'd love to hear whatever information, perhaps next month or in a future setting. It's just such a pity that we have to tie gender to formality, as it really shouldn't be a tie to appropriate pleasantries. So.
Member Erickson has a question. You're recognized.
Thank you. The question of the gentlewoman to my left, would that have been a SAGO question that could have been asked before the Finance Committee meeting and could have got an answer beforehand? I mean, I'm just saying, is that an example of what you're looking for?
Go ahead. If the administration will answer the question.
So had this been on the agenda so that she could review it ahead of time, that would have been an example. However, this was introduced in other business and the committee had not had a chance to review this document prior to the meeting.
I do want to say one thing. There are some times when, for political reasons, a question might be asked out here for political purposes. And as much as we try to get away from that, we are still an elected body. And we do have political purposes, whether we care to admit them or not at times. So that might happen. I do concur that if it's a question that can be asked and potentially can be answered before a meeting, that's always the best way to do it. I mean, that's the way I've always seen it work the best. But I would encourage staff that, sometimes members, they're struggling with the question, okay? And they're struggling to come up with the right question. And sometimes the question they ask really isn't the right question. And sometimes I hope you would say, maybe the question you really should ask is this, because sometimes we have to learn this stuff as we go along. We don't do this 5 days a week, 20 hours a day like you guys do. Any help you can give us on that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Erickson. Having said all this, obviously I'm the one who probably needs the most help here. So I get the formality of this, but it's also, it maybe will frustrate me a little bit on that, and I'll just leave it at that. It will frustrate me, so I appreciate committee and administration being patient with me. It's something moving forward, and we'll get better at it each and every month. State's Attorney is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To address the earlier question about gender-neutral language, just because Robert's Rules doesn't provide for a gender-neutral alternative, the Robert's Rules only kind of apply where the county board's rules don't have a rule in place. So if the county board does have a rule in place, then Robert's Rules wouldn't be our default kind of authority. So if the board does want to make any changes, then that is possible. Thank you.
Member Erickson, you're recognized.
So what you're really saying is the rules subcommittee should have to address that.
Answer the question.
I agree with the last member who spoke.
Any other questions or comments? I will say, as chairman, I will run this committee to the best of my ability. And I will run it. And that's, seeing no other, when I adjourn this meeting, we'll see you all next Thursday, full county board. Our next meeting is January 3rd. Thank you.